Brittany, and today I am going to be pairing chocolate with books. Chocolate and books are two of my favorite things, so how could I not pair them together? I'm going to be featuring my favorite chocolate brand, which is the Endangered Species Chocolate. If you didn't know about this brand, I will link their website down below. They donate 10% of their profits annually to one of their current give back foundations. Some of their past partners have been Sea the Wild, Chip Haven, Sea Turtles, Wildlife Conservation Network, Rainforest Trust, and African Wildlife Foundation. On each of their chocolate bars, they feature an animal that's endangered. And not to mention all of the wonderful things that they do, but their chocolate is so delicious. I love it. It's my go-to brand. If I see it on the shelves and I'm low on chocolate, I will go ahead and grab a few bars. I just love this chocolate brand so much. The first chocolate bar is dark chocolate with caramel and sea salt. And to me, the first thing I thought about when I heard this is something very sweet. I decided to pair this chocolate with a sweet book, and I chose The Chocolate Cure by Roxanne Snowpeck. This is an adult contemporary book featuring our main character who is trying to give up chocolate. Why would you ever do that? Who gives up chocolate? She's also trying to improve herself and make herself a better person, and along the way, she meets a wonderful guy, and things ensue. This was such a sweet book about just trying to make yourself better and finding a person who cares about you for you, not for who you could be or who you're not. And I think that that's just such a wonderful topic, and it was just such an easy book to read, and of course, full of chocolate. The second chocolate bar is dark chocolate with pumpkin spice and almonds. Sounds so good, and instantly makes me think of fall and chilly weather and a spooky atmosphere. And so I chose to pair this with two books that are very fall and atmospheric, and that is The Diviners by Libba Bray and The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. Both of these books have a paranormal aspect and are very atmospheric. They're perfect for the fall time and perfect to read while you're eating this lovely chocolate bar. The third chocolate bar is dark chocolate with peppermint crunch. This is Endangered Species seasonal winter chocolate bar, and I promise you, when it comes out, I go and grab it by the handfuls because I love it so much. It's so delicious. I didn't want to pair this with a seasonal wintry book. I wanted to go a different route, and so since this is something I cannot get enough of, absolutely cannot get enough of, I went with a book or a series really that I could not get enough of. That is the Shadowhunter books by Cassandra Clare, and I'm not just talking about the Mortal Instruments, I'm talking the Infernal Devices and the Dark Artifices, and when The Last Hours comes out, I will be grabbing The Last Hours. Anytime there's a Shadowhunters book, I am there, I am picking it up, I am so excited to read it. These are books that I just cannot get enough of. I love everything about them. I love the world, I love the Shadowhunters and the conflicts they have. I love the characters. I just love these books so much. The next chocolate is milk chocolate, which I do not eat, but a lot of people in the world do, and it is such a classic chocolate bar. So I decided to pair this with classics. And I haven't read very many classics, or if I have, I don't really remember them, or don't remember why I like them, or it was a long time ago, or had to read them in high school, and so they didn't really stick. So I am going with two classics that I am very excited to read. The first one is the Grimm's Fairy Tales by the Grimm brothers. This is a complete collection of fairy tales that I am so excited to sink my teeth into. I love all the retellings in Disney movies that are based off of these fairy tales, and I decided it's high time I figure out what the actual fairy tales are. And the second one is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. This is such a talked about classic, and I really want to know what everyone is talking about this book for. And it just seems like such a fun story, but with a little bit of depth, and I am excited to read this one. The next chocolate bar is my all-time favorite Endangered Species chocolate bar. When I run out of this chocolate, I get really sad. It's whatever I reach for first. It's just my favorite chocolate bar, and it is dark chocolate with sea salt and almonds. It is so good. Guys, you should go get it right now because it is so good. Just go to your local grocery store that sells endangered species and get this chocolate bar because it's so good. So good. I love it. So for this chocolate bar, of course, I wanted to pair it with my favorite book. And I decided to pair it with a new favorite book because I want everyone to know about this book, just as I want everyone to know about this chocolate bar, and that is Nevermore by Jessica Townsend. This book is just such a phenomenal read, really fun, whimsical. It's got Harry Potter vibes while being enough of its own story to stand on its own. I loved this book like 2 hours into listening to it, and then halfway through I went and ordered the paperback, which isn't here yet, and I'm already planning to reread it again, and I cannot wait for the next book to come out. It's just such a wonderful book that I want everyone to pick up. The next chocolate is a dark chocolate with forest mint. I love this combination. This combination is so wonderful, and this is another go-to chocolate for me. It's just such a classic combination. It's something I always want, and for this I paired it with my go-to book, and this took me a while to figure out. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, this is one of your go-to chocolates, pair it with your go-to book, and I was like, what is my go-to book? So I had to think, and then it came to me, and that is Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. And while I don't read this like all the time, but this is a go-to book that I talk about all the time. I love this book. I love the characters. I love the setting. I love the plot and the story. And of course, I love Laini Taylor and her writing. It's just so wonderful. This is a book that I go to talk about. And it is a book that I definitely will be picking up to reread in the future. The next chocolate is dark chocolate. Dark chocolate may not be everyone's cup of tea, but I love dark chocolate. And for me, I wanted to pick a book that was as rich as dark chocolate. I picked Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first book in the Mistborn trilogy. And this book is rich with characters who are rich and deep and complex. And the plot of this is rich and deep and complex. This book just screams dark chocolate. The next book is Dark Chocolate with Cranberries, Orange, and Cinnamon. And immediately when I saw this, I thought Thanksgiving. And so, what better way to express your love for Thanksgiving than by talking about a book that you were thankful for? And so, I have two that I'm very thankful for. And the first one is Goddess of the Night, which is the first book in the Daughters of the Moon series. This is the book that got me into reading, and I am so thankful for that because if I didn't read these books in this whole series, I would probably not be the reader I am today. And so for that, I am thankful for those books, and they will always hold a place in my heart. And the other book I picked was Stardust by Neil Gaiman. I also read this book in middle school, and this book is, I think, one of the books that got me into fantasy, that introduced me to good characters and a rich plot and something that is so unique and fun, and it introduced me to Neil Gaiman, who is one of my favorite authors, and for this, I am thankful for all the doors that this book opened up for me, and for showing me what fantasy was and how wonderful it could be. The next chocolate is dark chocolate with peanuts and almonds, and of course, I immediately thought nutty, and I went for a nutty book, and this one took me a while too. I was trying to figure out, like, what is nutty? What do we consider nutty? Is it like a nutty book that like didn't play out well? Is it a nutty character? Is it nutty funny? Is it nutty that everything goes wrong? But I went with Adulthood is a Myth by Sarah Anderson. This is a comic collection, just like short little comics that Sarah Anderson wrote and illustrated about what adulthood is, and it's so funny and nutty because that's kind of what life is. The last chocolate is dark chocolate with cranberries and almonds. This is a pairing I don't typically reach for, something that when I see it on the shelves, it's not going to be the first thing I pick, or, you know, it may be something I try later, but not really what I'm into. So I went with a book series genre that I don't typically reach for, and that is like horror thriller. I have one book on my shelf, and that is The Watchers by Dean Koontz, but I do plan on reading this and seeing what it's all about and what the genre can hold. So there you go, guys. That's 10 chocolate bars that I have paired with books. Please don't forget to check out Endangered Species website, and when you see them in the grocery store, pick up some of their chocolate because it is just so deliciously good, and they give back. And while no, this video is not sponsored, I do still really want you guys to know about this chocolate brand because it is my favorite, and sometimes I just want to share the love for my favorite things. In the comments down below, tell me what your favorite chocolate brand or what your favorite chocolate is. Tell me if you've ever heard of endangered species. Tell me what chocolate bar you would pair with what book. I really want to know. Don't forget that all my social media links are down below. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of the bookish content that I put out. That's all from me. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!